Central Kenya, ran largely by Rigathi Gachagua. They're doing what the opposition is expected to do. Almost doing what the opposition is expected to do, highlighting some of these government's misbehaviors as exactly work and keeping the government on its toes. We also have the splinter group from ODM. I don't know who split from whom, but we have the Linda Mwananchi group. They're also providing some sort of opposition. Of course, we have Kalonzo Musyoka and the Wiper. Yeah, so from where I sit, and in fact, I think the media is also starting to come back and play their rightful role in terms of highlighting some of these misdeeds of government. So from where I sit, I think that's a good thing that whether government takes action or not, all these bad behavior of government, poor governance, sabotaging the rule of law, corruption, and so on is being highlighted every day. In fact, I don't think there's any day that I'm just looking at the newspapers. That is a Danny deal. I don't think there's any day that we don't see the misdeeds of government being highlighted, and that's important for us for the governance of our nation. Of course. I think the need for the united opposition, as I was saying, is a yes or no, really. Yeah, because this is happening in a haphazard and in a way that is not very coordinated and organized. And I'm not talking about Ruto must go. That one, it doesn't really matter as long as different people are shouting. You can always think that is some sort of a free jazz. If not, it's not opera. Really. Yeah, but you can call it African jazz. Something. Everybody plays the things. Somebody hits the drums, otherwise is hitting sufurias and so on, and some music comes out. Anyway, I think we still need, as a country, to have coordinated opposition. A good example is the finance bill that is now being discussed in Parliament. What you see, you don't really hear a coordinated voice providing alternative to what is being provided. I know the Wiper team with Kalonzo did actually do some document, but on the other hand, I think such a document would have benefited a lot more if there was rigor from all these different people who are, spotlighting government. It would have had a lot more depth. In fact, I think for me, when I looked at it, the issue was not even the document. The issue was more the structure and the issues. Just coming and shifting figures that government has proposed is really not how to provide an alternative to government. Alternative must be alternative from first principles. And that requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of coordination. It requires resources and so on. So yes, we do really need to have a united opposition, but not just to get through to home. We need to have it as a fundamental pillar of governance in our country. Of course, even taking that a little bit further, and that really is to the opposition. Whether united or not, there is actually a united opposition. But it's not the one I'm calling in terms of the opposition unity. But by having a united opposition, I mean almost all the parties in the opposition, getting together. Yeah, but what I actually wanted to say there was that you see. It is clear that the agenda, of course, for the opposition is always to get power.
Yeah. Yes.
And it makes sense that the starting point of their conversation must always be to remove the current government. That is okay.
Yeah.
That is in order. But then I think we want to hear a little bit more from them, and this is also very important in light of the demographics that of the voter. We have a significant group of voters that are now quite well educated. The Kibaki free education kids, the Gen Zs. In fact, those are the Gen Zs. Most of them hold university degrees. Many are jobless. They're a very sophisticated group of voters. Of course, you have the middle class and so on, regardless of what people think about them. Yes, I think there's really a need to go slightly beyond Ruto must go and start not just telling us why Ruto must go. I think many Kenyans have their own reasons for wanting Ruto to go or to stay. But I've never really met people wanting to say. But
slide that in there. Okay.
But I know there are people who really want Ruto to stay still, and they have their own reasons. So I don't really think the position needs to belabor that much. I think the position now needs to start looking at it, looking at themselves as the alternative government.
Yep.
To start saying, to start crafting the message.
Yeah.
When we get in, this is what we shall do on governance, this is what we shall do on fuel, on energy, this is what we shall do on food security, this is what we shall do on these different areas. This is how we want this country governed, all the way from the presidency to the MCAs down there.
Yeah, Prof.